Faceware Studio offers the ability to individually tune every parameter being tracked on a performer's face, adjusting the resulting value before it's streamed to external applications such as Unreal Engine. In this module, we're going to be looking at the Animation Tuning panel in Faceware Studio and how we can adjust these individual parameters through an adjustment value expressed as percentage. In order to review the parameters that we're adjusting, it's good to compare the original performer versus the resulting MetaHuman performance. So let's go back over to Unreal Engine, where we have our MetaHuman already configured to receive data from Faceware Studio. Entering Simulate mode allows us to see the MetaHuman's performance as the data is streamed live from Faceware Studio. We can now return to Faceware Studio and reduce the window size so that we can see the live MetaHuman performance in comparison to the original performer. I'll pause the video playback. Any action that we make here on the timeline will result in a new track of the face, and the resulting data is being streamed to the MetaHuman. Here we can see that the performer's jaw is open a bit more than the MetaHuman performer's. Let's adjust that value. Here in the Animation Tuning panel in Faceware Studio, we have the complete list of every single parameter being tracked on the performer's face. It might be a little daunting to find an individual parameter just by scrolling through, so we'll use the Search for Controls tab here to type in the word jaw. This filters our parameters to only those that contain the word jaw in their name. Here we can see that the jaw open parameter is being triggered, as in that it has a value more than 0. However, the value is a little bit lower than we'd like, resulting in the MetaHuman jaw being closed a bit more than our performer. These parameters act as multipliers. At 100%, whatever value is tracked in the original video is streamed out unadjusted. If we wanted to reduce the effect of this particular parameter, we could reduce the percentage that this tracking value has before it's streamed out to our MetaHuman. So if we wanted our MetaHuman's jaw to stay closed at all times, we could change this 100% value to 0. By doing so, the value being streamed out of Faceware Studio is multiplied by 0, resulting in a constant 0 value. If instead we want to increase the impact of this parameter, in particular in its tracking value, we can enter a value that's greater than 100%. We'll start with trying out 200% here. With 200% entered, we're multiplying the original tracked value, essentially by 2, before it's streamed to our MetaHuman, and now our MetaHuman's jaw is a bit more open than it was before. In this case, 200% looks like it might be a little bit much, so let's bring this back to something like 175. At 175%, we seem to have a better match between how open our performer's teeth are versus our MetaHuman. Another thing that we can note here is that our performer's lip exposes a little more of the lower teeth than our MetaHuman at the moment. So let's look at how open this mouth is. We'll just type in the word open into our search controls, and we only find jaw open. Without knowing exactly which parameter we're looking for, we can instead close out and empty our search for controls, and instead search just a single mouth group. By clicking on mouth, or head, or eyes, our scroll area here in the panel only shows us the parameters relative to this individual facial group. Clicking back on mouth, we can scroll through here and find that there is a parameter relative to how much the mouth has been lowered. Here we are. Mouth lower down on the left and mouth lower down on the right. Let's increase both of these values to see if we can get the lips of this character in our MetaHuman to open a little bit more to reflect the value here in our performer. We'll try 150. And that might be a little bit much. Here you can see this adjustment was only applied to the left side of the mouth. Let's try 125. And then make this symmetrical by applying the same value to the right side. And now we have a little bit of a better match to our original performer. We can take a look at another value by finding another area of the performance. So far, so good. And here we have another discrepancy. Our performer is puckering her lips quite a bit, but our metahuman isn't quite there. So let's increase the value for mouth pucker. Here it is in the mouth group. And we'll increase this to 150% to see if that improves. We're getting there. I'll double click once again and set this to 175. That's starting to look better. As we make adjustments to these parameters, we're effectively tuning Faceware Studio when this particular performer is driving this particular metahuman. As a result, it would be useful to save these configurations for reuse anytime we want to use this performer with this metahuman. Faceware Studio facilitates this through the Profile menu. Here we can save our current profile, which contains all of the settings in our animation tuning. Let's save this profile, and we'll name it based on the first 3 letters of our performer and the first 3 letters of our metahuman. In this case, CAT for our performer, _DAN for our metahuman. And since this is the second time I'm saving this, I'll call this _V02 for version 2. Clicking Save saves that profile, and I can recall that profile by returning to the Profile menu and selecting it from this list. If I want to return to my version 1, I can choose that here. I could also very quickly go back to my default settings by choosing Profile and Default Settings. Now all of our parameters have been restored to 100%. I'll return to my version 2 by choosing Profile and version 2. Finally, if I no longer have use for the version 1 file, I can click this red X to remove it from our drop-down list. This would remove the selected profile from that list, and we are still using the profile version 2. Finally, if I had use for that version 1 profile again, I could go back to the Profile menu, choose Load Profile, and find that version 1 file to bring into Faceware Studio. I can now easily select between version 1 and version 2 again, anytime that I need these profiles.